go to the September 15th regular Board of Education minutes. There was a change that was made, I think, in your vote, Sue, was...
yes, my vote was incorrect.
Was incorrect.
So that's been corrected now. Thank you for that. As I mentioned before, under the correct amended minutes of the regular Board of Education meeting March 10th, resolution of intent to issue working cash bonds, the description was that additional information was discussed when all we did was read.
Can you tell me what page you're on?
I'm sorry, it's the second page of the notes, or the minutes, like fifth one from the bottom, for the item from the bottom, March 10th. It says, it was the consensus of the board to amend the official minutes to reflect the additional information discussed. The additional information discussed was a verbatim reading of my motion. All right. It was not additional, it was the original. And so I just felt that wasn't accurate.
So how would you like to change the meeting?
The official minutes were changed to reflect the verbatim record of the amendment.
That's under the discussion part of the minutes, not the actual vote part.
Is that correct?
Over here. That statement is only, I think,
yeah, but the vote is okay, right?
Yeah.
What you're saying is take the word additional information discussed and put verbatim record?
Yes.
I don't object to that. Any objection to that? We're going to vote on this later. What? Okay.
And when we had our on the first reading for the Board of Education policy for the board attorney, we had a whole discussion there. And the consensus, I believe at that time, was
where is this one?
This is the second to last one on that same page. And we discussed this issue at the last board meeting, where we had a long discussion about the board attorney policy, how we wanted to have it reflect that board members were a part of the definition of who could call the board attorney. Right, so there's that whole discussion that we had, but that wasn't reflected in the minutes at all, so that when it came back to the next board meeting, since this is all we had to refer to, when it came back to the next board meeting and it was a change to accurately reflect what our consensus was at the time, we had to bring it all up again, and the minutes didn't reflect it, and so there was no evidence that we had had a discussion. Just like when I brought up these minutes the last time, there was no mention as to why or what was going on. It was just taped, and there's no reflection of what this, Now, I can understand not getting into the contentious part of it, but we have to at least characterize what the discussion was about. And in this case, we didn't do that. So, once again, it doesn't accurately.
Well, the minutes or the policy that's in here for adoption does reflect the change.
Now it does, after this is the third time we've had to bring it. And part of it's a minutes issue, part of it's a misunderstanding issue, a disagreement issue. Sometimes it takes a while, but it doesn't help when the minutes don't accurately reflect the discussions we've already had, so that we have to come back and have them again. See what I'm saying?
I do, but the board didn't, in my view, I think there was discussion, and that's what it says. There wasn't any action, and the minutes are supposed to reflect action. We just reviewed them. And we do that. That's the same wording that we use whenever we're reading policies, no matter what the direction is, whether it's administrative direction or whatever, we just reflect in the minutes that level of policy had been reviewed.
But that's not true, because if you look at the minutes that we just had from the last meeting, it says, for that very same policy, it says, oh, we agree now that we're going to change it to be this certain way. Because that was the conclusion that we reached during the discussion.
Right.
It didn't just say, and that should have been in this round.
Well, I don't know that we agreed at that meeting. That's my point.
See, I thought we did. Now we have to go to the record again.
Well, maybe, yeah. I know we discussed it. I don't think we reached a consensus or an agreement. I think there was a disagreement on how that should be done, whether it should be reflected in the minutes, whether it should be not reflected, whether it should be again. In my thought was it was sent back to the administration to come back with a recommendation.
That was not my recollection.
Okay, well,
so now
maybe we need to just table this and have the look at the minutes or look at the tape.
Go ahead and take that. If there was a little more characterization of what we actually talked about, then maybe, we can't take a vote on every discussion because every discussion is not actionable, right? So the the discussion is the record of the minutes. If there's no description in there, we don't have any record, and then we get into this. Now, if I at least have a heads up that Dr. Chapman thinks that the consensus was one thing, and I thought the consensus was this, before we get to the board meeting, we can get all the facts and have the verbatim record, and then we can hash it out here. We don't have to go for 4 months before we figure out what the heck we're doing. So,
Well, yeah, let me comment on that. I think that would have, if we had known what suggestions you were gonna make on these in advance, then we could do that check. Right? Like, for example, I didn't know what wording you wanted to add here. We just put this on the agenda for your request. But if you wanted to change the minutes and had told us in
no,
advance, then
on
we
Monday, October 11th, I sent an email to the board on this very issue. All right, describing in detail, there is no mention of the board discussion of policy, blah, 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 board attorney, where the board discussed the revised policy, did not explicitly state that the board members were allowed to call the attorney. And I go on, it's length as to how that should be changed. October 11th, all right? So this is not unknown to you, okay? This has been going on for some time.
No, I'd say what's unknown is what wording you wanted to put in the minutes. That's what I'm saying. What do you want to do with this?
Do we agree that at this time, for the September 15th meeting, that we agreed at that time that board members should be recognized as able to call the attorney? Do we agree on that?
That was not my recollection, but I
thought we
didn't
were
want to
going,
take.
we were going to put the agreement on the back of the policy, where we are right now, what this current board is doing, and continue to do that as the policies are updated. Right now, and I believe it's on the back of it, isn't it, what the written agreement is, and it doesn't specifically say, right, but that was what I heard, that we were gonna put that on, and it is on there now.
Right, but this is 2 months ago. And so if we're gonna change the minutes from 2 months ago, we need to have an understanding what our agreement was then, and it seems that we don't have agreement.
Well, I guess it's more of probably the way that we talk to each other, and that we have to make sure that before we close the discussion topic, that we say, look, is this what we're going to do? Is this where we're at? I mean, until everyone's comfortable or ever gets comfortable with it, I think we have to make sure that we do. We can't assume that everybody's reached the same conclusion then. Maybe we all need to say, you know, yes, this is what I'm thinking, this is what you're thinking, and then have a direction before we move forward. Because clearly it's not, it's several people having different recollections.
Yeah, should we have a review of video for the September 15th?
So when we
Yes,
get to
I
this,
am.
we just really act on when we get to it to table.
Can we take action on the ones that we've already discussed where we said the verbatim record, just so we don't have to revisit that again? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, this is listed as an action item if you want to make that motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we amend the September 15th, 2010 minutes under the March 10th resolution. Sorry?
Not under action items.
No, but it is listed as an action item. We can take action at this point in the meeting.
Oh, because it's listed?
Because it's listed as an
Okay.
action. Okay.
Where was it? I'd like to make a motion to amend the September 15th meeting minutes to change under the March 10th, 2010 resolution of intent to issue working cash fund bonds item, to change the words, the additional information discussed